So let's talk about that. Is that happening? So we're talking Conor McGregor at the White House.
Yeah, I mean, as we sit here today, I would say I'm cautiously optimistic that is the fight that's going to happen. And they're definitely doing a fight at the White House. Conor was on the news and done interviews saying he's fighting me at the White House. Dana's doing interviews saying, hey, Conor is definitely motivated to come back. Because the biggest question here isn't, well, is Conor and Chandler going to fight? The biggest question is, like, is Conor going to come back? And I think we still don't know. It remains to be seen. We had a fight lined up last June. He pulled out of the fight for injury. So we'll see how it plays out. And we're still months and months away. There could be a lot of things that happen between now and then. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Like, that's the fight that's going to happen at the White House lawn, June-ish of 2026. Right now it's slated for June 14th. Could change tomorrow. Who knows? A fight of this magnitude, you're talking, building an arena, building a bubble, building a stage, doing whatever they have to do, light it up and like do all the things, all the security clearance. You take a UFC card in Vegas or wherever where they've done it 85 times or way more than that, actually, hundreds of times. It becomes like clockwork. This is a brand new one of one, never been done before, never will be done again type of event on the grounds of the president's doorstep. It's like there's a lot of logistical stuff that needs to be figured out. But all I can do is keep the main thing, which is train, be ready for June, and then hopefully knock Conor out, get my hand raised.
Well, look, if they're going to have the biggest fight of all time, they're going to want to have the biggest stars of all time there.
Yep.
So it makes sense. Conor posted this AI image of you and him with the White House in the background.
Yeah.
Did you just open up Instagram one day and you were like, what the heck is that?
I was at my father-in-law's farm in Columbia. We were just driving around on four-wheelers or go-karts or something. All of a sudden, like, my phone beeps. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And it beeps again, and it beeps again, and it beeps again. And my phone was just blowing up. And then all of a sudden, people started sending me the picture. So that's how I found out. And then, just the whole media, everything. Like, obviously, the White House gets announced. And then if you remember, like, John Jones had just kind of retired, pulled himself out of the testing pool. Then the White House gets announced. He's like, okay, I'm coming back. I want to be at the White House and get myself back in the testing pool. Conor kind of does the same thing, enters the testing pool. Because I think since Conor was out of the testing pool, when you pull yourself out voluntarily, or even if for whatever reason you get out of the testing pool, you have to come back in, and they have to usually make you wait a full year, because essentially it's like, well, hey, if you got out of the testing pool, we don't know what was going on while you were out of the testing pool. So therefore you need a year of clean tests. So you saw kind of that. Everybody wants to be on this card. It's also not about making the biggest fights. It's also about making the biggest, most reliable fights. Now, some people would say, well, Conor pulled out of the fight last June, but if you remember who Conor is and how he operates, he had never pulled out of a fight before, took a bunch of fights on short notice. Last fight didn't work out, but when it comes to reliability, I am the most reliable guy on the roster. If they're like, hey, Chandler's on the card, he's going to show up, he's going to make weight, he's going to do what he's supposed to do, he's going to do all the promos, he's going to do all the media, he's going to do every single thing we ask him to, because he's just that guy. I only know one way. So I make a lot of sense to be on that card. American, red, white, and blue-blooded American, love this country, would love to be a part of that card. Plus, I'm Conor's dance partner because we got to finish the Ultimate Fighter. We did the Ultimate Fighter 31 and never really sealed the deal and finished that process until we actually fight.
And to be clear, his suspension will be over by the time that this fight card comes around.
Yeah, so it was retroactive. So I think the way it was explained to me was essentially he pulled out of the fight in June, and then he went on his yacht. Well, so if you remember, it was just a broken pinky toe. So there was talks in June, and that's why I didn't fight Oliveira till November. And there was talks like, well, hey, it was June. Let's just push it back to August, September, October.
Yeah.
And I think the UFC was kind of a little bit gun shy, where it's like, hey, man, we just had this big promotion. We promoted you and Chandler June 29th, International Fight Week. We had a press conference in Dublin that we were going to do. And I mean, I had my flight booked. I got called by Hunter Campbell at like 2 a.m. and said, hey, don't get on your flight. We're trying to figure some stuff out right now. So they canceled the press conference. So there was just a lot of kind of bad taste in their mouth of like, hey, we can't just book you two months later. We got to know that you're actually going to come back and fight and do it. Yeah. So I think during that time, he was probably like, all right, well, forget you guys, forget this whole thing. This is, how we get as human beings. We're just like, okay, I'm fed up with it. All bets are off. So I think he, missed a couple whereabouts. He didn't fail a test. He never failed a test. He just didn't show up for a couple of them. And if you show up or if you miss a couple of them, then you get an automatic suspension. His suspension was 18 months. That 18 months ends in March, and he's clear to go for the White House.